Hello and welcome to Microsoft Excel for Mac 2008. My name is Ashley Murray and I will be sharing with you some basic functions of Excel, including the interface and how to write a simple or complex formula using the formula toolbar, and how to create macros, which for Mac is actually AppleScript in Excel. The first thing that I would like to point out are the boxes, which are known as the data cells. Each box has a corresponding number and letter. The rows and the columns create a cell box. Each column has a corresponding letter and it goes from A all the way to Z. And each row has a corresponding number, which goes from 1 to forever. It's important to know the names of each data cell because it lets you know where your variable is. It also helps you when you do a function to name the information correctly. For instance, if you take a look at column B and you see quantity, if you want to get the total quantity, you need to know to name each data cell correctly. So if I want the total sum for the quantity, I would have to name each one, and it would be B3 plus B4 plus B5 plus B6 plus B7 plus, where did I leave off at? Sorry. B8 plus B9. You have to know what they're named so you can get your correct calculation. 515. Okay, the next thing I want to show you, if you look up at the top, you see the ribbon, which is very, very similar to Microsoft Word. Same things: file, edit, view, insert. The difference between Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word is this has data instead of font, but it's all pretty much the same thing. And if you need font tools, they're right here. You also have the option of using your toolbox as another formatting palette. I always leave mine open, but this is the formatting palette. It has the font, page setup, numbers, everything pretty much the same that you see on the ribbon. And then there's also another way of formatting, which would be to actually use the options up at the top on the ribbon. Say for instance you want to change the color of the box. You would select a row, go to Format, Cells, and then you have different options. Of course, you go to Font, and to change the color of the text, go here. My favorite color is pink, so we'll do pink. Okay, there you have it. And then if you wanted to change the color of the box itself, or the cell, you can come here, pick orange, and there you are. I don't like the way that looks, so I'm definitely going to change it back. Okay, so these are basically formatting things. If you need to format it for a more organized look. The toolbar that you use to do the functions is also up at the top, and if you go to your formatting palette, you also have a toolbar over here. And then in this box below, you can see that you have some frequently used functions. So that's where everything is. If you take a look at the bottom of the sheet, and this is called a sheet, you will see tabs, and these are sheet tabs, labeled sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. These sheets together, or even by themselves, make up what is called a workbook. Usually when you open up a blank workbook, it says workbook at the top, but I already saved it as sales. just to have something to work with to do this tutorial for. But it's important that you correctly and adequately name your workbook as well as your tabs at the bottom, because it helps you to cycle through information. You know, you all see that the title of this spreadsheet on the inside is Golf Course Pro Shop Inventory. So my first sheet I've named Golf. And then you have a second sheet. Might want to do football. Basketball. And then the third sheet, it just makes it easier to cycle through. You know where everything is. It's all about organization. It makes it a lot easier to maneuver. So looking at Excel with all these different options, you know, these number buttons and things like that, and the formulas over here or functions, it might seem like it's pretty complicated, but it's really not. Once you know how to create a formula, then it's pretty easy stuff. It's kind of like a calculator. I'm actually going to show you all a few examples of some basic functions. First, we will start with something really simple, which is multiplication. So say, for instance, I want to find out what the total retail value is, which would be the retail price times the quantity. So with any function formula, start off with an equal sign, and then you select what you want to find out. And since I'm trying to find out the total retail value, I'm going to do multiplication, which is the star times the retail price. And then enter. Simple. I have it in accounting format already, so that's why that number sign's there. If you want, you could also type it in instead of selecting it, equal, and then you would do B4 star D4. Enter. Same thing. Or beyond that, my favorite thing to do is the autofill, which is this little skinny cross that you see, and you take it and you just drag it down, and it goes off what the previous formulas were. So if you look up at the toolbar, see B6 times D6 because it went off our B3 times D3. So that's extremely convenient and very helpful, especially if you have a lot of rows to fill. We're going to now try something a little bit more complicated, but if you remember from elementary school, we all learned our order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which is parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So if you remember that, it's pretty easy to find out a complex formula. So, for example, percent of total retail value would be the quantity divided by the total retail value. And we'll go ahead and find out that. Another cool thing you can do is auto sum. And it'll find out, you highlight what you're adding up, and then just like that. So percent of total retail value is quantity divided by total retail value. So you would say, you know, go up here, equals, and then you say B3 divided by E10. Enter. And that's actually not in the right format. I'm going to go over here and make it a general number so you can see it's the number. This is still a pretty basic formula. It's just 2 steps. So to show how to do order of operations, I have my own little